So I just want to just go over a couple things. There are just 4 bullet points that I just want to share. I just wanted to talk, and I hate to do this because this man is driving me insane, but we got to talk about Brett Farve again. I need to address this whole ordeal. Matter of fact, it's not even just him, it's somebody else too. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. Last no, of course not last week, but I believe it was the week before last. We talked about during our sports talk. We talked about Naomi. What is her name? I can never pronounce her last name.
Osaka.
Say again.
Osaka.
Osaka. We talked about her and her having these mental health issues and her not attending these media conferences and getting fined at the end result of it. So Brett Favre for his podcast, like normal, came out and said that athletes should talk to the media because of the money that they make. Part of his quotation said, I do think athletes are held to a different level and a different standard, and rightfully so, because of the money that we make. So then he also it was also pointed out that he refused to do a press conference when the Packers lost to the Detroit Lions 27-20 out of frustration. You know, see the difference between the two? Brett Farve, frustration. Naomi Osaka, balance that out. Mental health, balance that out. So I'm going to ask the question that I asked on my podcast that I'm going to ask on this one. Why do Brett Farve think that mental health is a low priority? Why do he do that? It drives me insane. And then it don't make it any better that Pierce Morgan comes out and said, oh, she's just a spoiled brat. Oh, this coming from a man that got mad at another dude on the set because he called you out about your racism and you walk off like a big spoiled brat, like a big kid. Oh, coming from you. Excellent.
I'm going to say this. And it's funny because even though that I'm gathering up notes and coming up with different new topics for my podcast on mental health, I'm just going to say that if you're going to say that she should have attended these interviews and these conferences because of the fact that they're getting paid, to do these things versus, oh, I'm not going to speak to the media because I'm frustrated. Yeah. What do you think that is? They're both mental health. They're both mental.
Yeah, it's mental. And I see your point, but his frustration is just in the game.
It is. It's just in the game. But the problem is that either way, Brett Farve is still suffering from mental health, and he fails to understand that because of the frustration of the game. It takes people.
Go ahead.
It takes people aback when people get frustrated when they lose games, and they have to sit there and they have to address their losses to the media.
Here's what he said. And I didn't mention this because I didn't think that it would, go here. But I'm gonna mention this because this is what he also said, and so I get your thoughts on this one. In 1998, after Favre's Packers lost 27-20 to the Detroit Lions, the disgruntled quarterback was so frustrated that he told the Packers public relations team that he wouldn't do his regular post-game conference. But he said he regretted that decision. They said that you got to do it. I said, I'm not doing it. Later adding, I should have done the press conference and just owned up. It was one of those things where I said, if I don't have anything good to say, I'm not going to say anything at all. Well, go in there and say that.
Brush is contradicting himself. he's contradicting himself because of the fact that Naomi Osaka wants to take care of her mental health, just like how Brett Farve did when he was frustrated about that loss. May have had a bad game. Offense may have had a bad game. Defense may have had a bad game. Whatever the case may be. He was protecting it just as much as Naomi Osaka. That doesn't make him any worse or better to make that excuse because of the frustration of a game. Point being, dude, you did exactly what she did too. And that ain't fair for you to address her as a spoiled brat. That would make you a spoiled brat too.
Oh, that was Pierce Morgan. Pierce Morgan called her the spoiled brat.
Well,
Brett
either
Farve,
way, but still, that's just a general point. Either if Pierce Morgan said it or Brett Farve said it, you just still have no right to say it. You just don't.
Well,
because you walk off a set because you get called out by how you feel about racism.
No, and I get that, and I agree on both halves of that. My only thing is that if he's mad at a game, how do that make that a mental issue? How do it make it a mental issue? How do it causes him to say, "Oh, I'm not going to do this just because I don't want to talk about this loss"? What makes it a mental health issue when Naomi is really going further, more deeper into her thoughts than what Brett Farve did?
Right, but even though that everybody takes their aspects to the game and their mental health, they take it to a different approach. A lot of people still would have addressed the media. She didn't. They still would have addressed it, but she just has like me and you, for instance. We have high anxiety when it comes to talking to other people. That's exactly what it is with her. So she has to take a different approach to the way that she enters the press conference or play the tennis games and how to handle that emotion. Brett Farve, he, on the other hand, can just actually take a turn, just a small turn, and won't have to worry about it. They can just bounce back to the next game. It's just a different way on how people just handle their mental health. Everybody handles it differently. But I just feel that he should have been actually 100% supportive, regardless to what they're getting paid for, regardless of what's going on.
That's the privilege.
Yeah, it's just a privilege. Yeah, it's just a privilege. And that's what I'm saying. He should have been supportive, period. That's why I felt that he was wrong for that.
Oh, yeah, he was wrong. Oh, he was wrong. No doubt. Him and Pierce Morgan, especially Pierce Morgan. Yeah, between the both of them, I couldn't tell you. Between the both of them, I could not tell you which one was worse. Because he has no room to call anybody a spoiled brat. None. Absolutely none. Zero.
No. Zero. And that ain't fair to her because she wants to actually handle things the way that she feels that she can handle it.
Right.
That doesn't make her wrong.
Right. Exactly.
That don't make her wrong. So don't go on your podcast talking all this shit because you feel like that she's backing out for something that she don't want to do.
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
That's how I feel about it. That ain't cool.
Well, if you don't have nothing else to say,